I suck at fantasy football. Not for the reasons that you think. Not because I draft bad. Not because I don't know what I'm doing. Not because the opponent that I'm playing against, their players have a career day the same week that they playing me. It's because the players that I pick always choose to have a bad game at the wrong time. I'm in this league called Fantasy Football Hedge, right? And I've been in this fantasy league for quite some time. A few years, my first couple years in the league, it went well. I was in the championship game and finished twice my first 2 years in this league. But ever since then, it's been downhill every year. Every year, I struggle to make the playoffs. I barely get in the playoffs. Again, not because I drive bad, not because I don't know what I'm doing. It's because once again, the players that I pick always seem to get injured. So let me tell you about this year's team in 2024. Dak Prescott was my quarterback. And I know what you're going to say, hey, that's where you went wrong. Actually, no. Because if you look at Dak Prescott the year before, he was a fantasy football god. Okay? Yeah, the Cowboys might not have went to the Super Bowl that year, but numbers-wise, Dak Prescott was a fantasy god. Like, everybody wanted him. So I was kind of excited when the draft came up and I was able to get him pretty late in the rounds. And I'm thinking, hey, if the Cowboys are not good, at least Dak Prescott is going to throw for 1,000,000 yards. You would think, right? But nope. What happens? Dak Prescott gets injured. And there goes my season. Right? So I also had Saquon Barkley, who I got pretty early. Saquon might have actually been my first round pick, right? Saquon Barkley with signs with the Eagles. Everything's going to be great. The Eagles got the number one offensive line in the league. Saquon Barkley is going to eat, which he did majority of the time until the week that I needed him. He let me down, right? Saquon Barkley got boxed up by, I don't even remember who the Eagles played that week, but he gave me zero effort, barely any points, and it cost me a W, and it almost cost me a playoff spot. Actually, I think that was a week that actually did cost me in the playoffs. And Barkley, as a matter of fact, I got it up right now. Let me look it up. My playoffs, Saquon Barkley played Pittsburgh, and only gave me 15 fantasy points. That was my playoffs. So again, I suck at fantasy football, but not because I draft bad or because I don't know what I'm doing. It's because players like Saquon Barkley don't show up when I need them the most, right? So I suffered injuries. Saquon didn't do what he's supposed to do. I also had Chuba Hubbard, who was balling all year long, but when I needed him the most, he get injured. I had Stephon Diggs. He get injured. So here I am barely making it into the playoffs for my fantasy football league. And who do I have to pick up to replace Dak Prescott? Jameis Winston, Mr. Crab Legs himself. And of course he does well until I need him. And then I got to bench Jameis Winston and I got to pick up Bo Nix. And of course Bo Nix be balling for Denver until I needed him. And then bam, here comes the playoffs and Bo Nix don't do anything. And I'm out of the playoffs. So here I go again, 5 years into this fantasy football league that I have yet to return back to the championship game not because I draft bad, not because I don't know what I'm doing, not because my opponent has career days against me during any given week, but no. It's because my players get injured at the wrong time and it costs me every single year. So I don't know what I'm going to do in this next upcoming fantasy football year. I don't know if I just stay away from all the big names and just pick up bums going forward. Like the people who actually won the fantasy football year didn't even have like some of the top guys in the league as far as numbers. They won with a lot of lower tier players. So here I am picking some of the big names, some of the stars of the league, Saquon Barkley, Dak Prescott, Stephon Diggs, Chuba Hubbard, Tony Pollard, all for them just to let me down in the freaking playoffs when I need them the most. And granted, I did barely make it into the playoffs because I barely overcame a Dak Prescott injury. But I thought I was working the waiver wire pretty well to where I was going to be able to make some moves come the playoffs because Bo Nix didn't really have anything to play for towards the end of the year. So he should have been balling, right? Right? But no. He lets me down. So again, I suck at fantasy football, but it ain't because of me. It has something to do with every player that I have that don't do their job when I need them the most. So hopefully my luck changes this upcoming fantasy season. And if you guys have any advice on who I should be picking up or any tips or tricks that you be using when you play your fantasy, matter of fact, I need to hear from winners of fantasy football leagues. So if you won your fantasy football league, drop it in the comments and let me know, how did you do it? Who was on your team? What is your strategy? Because I'm sick of losing. I need to get back to the championship game. This league has repeat winners, and I haven't even got one yet. So please help me out, or I'm just going to go ahead and retire from fantasy football and stop wasting my money every single year making donations to other people. Because I need to win. I know my football. I know what it takes to win the fantasy football league. And you know what that is? Drafting Cowboy players. That's what I need. I need CD. I need Dak Prescott. I need Jake Ferguson. And I need the kicker, Brandon Aubrey, in order to win the fantasy football league, because those are winners. Those players are winners. But hey, hopefully my fortune turns this next upcoming fantasy season. But I'm going to drop this video because, like I said, I'm terrible at fantasy football. Help me. Help me. And make sure you drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon so you know when I go live. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.